Turns out, he might not have been joking. On March 30th, 2025, in an interview that can only be described as peak Trump, the man himself declared his interest in a third term as President of the United States. Yes, you heard that right, 3 terms. Now the Constitution, that pesky little document, clearly states that a president can only serve 2 terms. But Trump, never one to be bothered by things like rules or laws, hinted at ways around this little inconvenience. He mumbled something about methods and how he was not joking about sticking around. This sent shockwaves through, well, pretty much everyone who understands how democracy is supposed to work. The White House, in a truly impressive feat of verbal gymnastics, tried to downplay the whole thing. They said Trump was focused on his current term. Sure, Jan. This wasn't exactly out of the blue, though. Trump has a long and storied history of flirting with the idea of an extended stay at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. He's dropped hints at rallies, made offhand comments in speeches, you name it. He even once compared himself to a king, which frankly, isn't the best look for someone who's supposed to be leading a democracy. And let's not forget his well-documented man-crush on various autocratic leaders around the world. You know, the guys who get to be president for life because, well, they say so? Yeah, those guys. So, while the March 30th interview might have been the most blatant declaration of his intentions, it was really just the latest in a long line of not-so-subtle hints. Now back to that pesky Constitution. Specifically the 22nd Amendment. It's pretty clear, even for a document written centuries ago, 2 terms, that's it, end of story. But Trump, ever the optimist, seems to think there are loopholes. He even suggested that his vice president, J.D. Vance, could run in 2028 and then just, hand over the presidency to him. Because that's totally how it works. Legal experts, however, were quick to point out that this plan was about as well thought out as a Trump steak business. Apparently, there's this other thing called the 12th Amendment that says, if you're not eligible to be president, you're also not eligible to be vice president. Go figure. As you can imagine, America had some thoughts. Supporters cheered, critics cried foul, and everyone else just shook their heads in a mixture of amusement and despair. Congress, never one to miss out on a good political brawl, jumped into the fray as well. Democrats, still traumatized from the whole attempting to overturn an election thing, proposed legislation to reinforce the whole 2-term limit concept. Republicans, meanwhile, were strangely quiet, probably because they were too busy trying to figure out how to spin this whole thing to their advantage. So, there you have it, America in 2025, where the Constitution is more of a set of guidelines than actual rules, and the very concept of democracy seems to be hanging by a thread. Stay tuned, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride.